was awakened by the condemnation in the academy. Levi in the corner opened his drowsy eyes. The pleasure-seeking wanderer, huh? Speaking of which, the story of the fourth-generation clan leader and the pleasure-seeking wanderer is known to every member of the Moon Clan. This pleasure-seeking wanderer, who was also a fifth-grade Gu master, had been a notorious womanizer and thief for many years. He was notorious in the world of demonic cultivation. Hundreds of years ago, he roamed to Qingmong Peak with the intention of committing crimes in Moon Mountain Village. As a result, he was exposed by the fourth-generation clan leader. After an earth-shattering battle, the pleasure-seeking wanderer was beaten to his knees, begging for mercy. The fourth-generation clan leader, being kind and compassionate, intended to spare his life. As a result, the pleasure-seeking wanderer suddenly launched a sneak attack, severely injuring the fourth-generation clan leader. Enraged, the clan leader killed the pleasure-seeking wanderer on the spot. But shortly after, he was also fatally wounded and passed away. Therefore, in the hearts of all the people of the Moon Clan, the fourth-generation clan leader is seen as a heroic figure who sacrificed himself for the village. Levi stretched lazily, feeling somewhat resentful. But where did this pleasure-seeking wanderer exactly die? Why haven't I found his estate after searching all around the village? About 2 months later in my memory, a clan Gu master who was drunk because of lovesickness was lying outside the village, completely drunk. The overflowing scent of alcohol unexpectedly attracted a wineworm Gu master who was very happy and eager to catch it. The wineworm hurriedly fled. The Gu master pursued the wineworm relentlessly. Following the trail of the wineworm, they discovered a hidden entrance leading underground. The wineworm is a precious type of Gu, and despite being intoxicated, the Gu master took the risk and entered the underground cave. They arrived at the secret underground cave and then found the corpse of the pleasure-seeking wanderer, as well as the legacy left behind. The Gu master returned to the village and reported all the discoveries, causing a great sensation among the entire family. As a result, the Gu master benefited and their cultivation became more outstanding. This even led to the return of their former lover who had once abandoned them, making them a prominent figure for a while. Unfortunately, I only heard about these news vaguely, and do not know the exact location. I never thought there would come a day of rebirth. Where did the pleasure-seeking wanderer die after all? Lately, I have bought a lot of wine, and have been wandering around the village at night, hoping that the scent of wine will attract the wineworm to appear. Unfortunately, the wineworm is nowhere to be seen. If you can find and refine the wineworm into an innate Gu, it will be much better than the moon Gu in the family. Levi sighed, turned his gaze to the window. In the blink of an eye, it was already April. Time waits for no one. In the bamboo forest, because of the continuous 3 days and 3 nights of heavy rain just now, the mountain's turbid air has all been washed away, leaving only the purest freshness. Levi lifted the mud seal off the small wine barrel. Instantly, a strong aroma of wine hit his nose. He slowly tilted the wine barrel to one side. A small stream of bamboo wine dripped onto the stone. He cheered himself on in his mind. Now there are only 2 pieces of essence stone left. It would be troublesome if he couldn't find the relics of the pleasure-seeking wanderer. The rich aroma of wine slowly spread out. The night was also gradually thickening. Levi stood still, smelling the wine, but seeing no movement. It seems that he has failed. It's time to stop. Otherwise, he won't even be able to refine the moon Gu. Perhaps this is the helplessness of life. Perhaps it is also the charm of life. He doesn't force what he can't get. The night is already deep at this moment. A dense cloud disperses, returning the moonlight here. In the night, Levi suddenly noticed some movement. Just then, the moonlight poured into the bamboo forest, illuminating the mountain stones not far away. A white snowy shadow seemed to have unknowingly tasted the bait that Levi had left behind. The wineworm has a body shaped like a silkworm larva, emitting a pearl-like white light all over. Levi's pupils suddenly dilated. His body trembled slightly. His heart suddenly jumped, and then he hopped faster and faster. Wineworm Levi held his breath and didn't approach recklessly. He was waiting for this little wine worm to get drunk. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to keep up with his own speed. Before long, the wine worm swayed and drifted away. Obviously, it was completely drunk. Upon seeing this scene, Levi immediately followed behind it. The young man swiftly shuttled through the bamboo forest. He chased after a spot of white not far ahead. Shortly afterwards, he saw the wineworm fly into a crevice in a huge rock. Levi's eyes suddenly lit up. Then he stopped in his tracks. Turns out it was here. A determined light flashed in his eyes as he walked to the edge of the boulder. He took a deep breath and charged in. Levi walked 50 to 60 steps inside. At the end of the cave, a skeleton suddenly appeared. Obviously, it was the remains of the pleasure-seeking wanderer. Levi looked around coldly. He planned to collect the belongings of the pleasure-seeking wanderer first. But just as he crouched down, preparing to act, a murderous voice suddenly sounded behind Levi. "Move and give it a try." Even Levi, at this moment, felt his hair stand on end and his scalp tingle. I was actually being followed. Could it be that my frequent outings in recent days have attracted the attention of someone with ill intentions? In an instant, countless thoughts and speculations flashed through his mind. The voice behind him sounded again. "You have been hit by my unique poisonous goo. Without my detoxifying goo, you will definitely turn into pus and blood and die in 7 days." Levi forced himself to calm down. "If you want the wineworm, I can give it to you." But at that moment, suddenly another person's voice was heard. This voice was filled with fear and trembling. "I can give it to you. I can give you everything. I beg for mercy, Lord Pleasure-Seeking Wanderer." Levi furrowed his brow into a knot. He suddenly turned around, only to see the light and shadow on the stone wall in front of him flashing, displaying a scene. A fierce and intimidating Goo Master stood at the peak of the mountain. Another Goo Master knelt at his feet. "Please spare my life, considering the hospitality my clan has shown you before." Pleasure-Seeking Wanderer sneered constantly. "Hospitality? How dare you say that? I originally intended to make a fair deal with you, exchanging essence stones for moon orchids from your clan. I never expected you to poison me with goo in the wine, tarnishing my reputation as a wanderer seeking pleasure in flowers and wine. How could I have fallen for such a trap? Trying to use my head to gain fame and reputation. You are the author of your own misfortune and will not live long." The 4th-generation clan leader cried out in panic. "Sir, please spare my wretched life. All the essence stones from my clan belong to you. I am willing to ingest your slave goo and become your servant, serving you for a lifetime." The pleasure-seeking wanderer narrowed his eyes. "The slave goo is a 5th enhanced goo worm. Did you think I didn't notice? But you have fallen into the poison of my unique goo, and only I can detoxify it. I am not afraid of your resistance. In that case, if your clan provides me with 3,000 essence stones and 30 caddies of moon orchids every week, I will spare your wretched life." The 4th-generation clan leader kept calling and kowtowing, expressing gratitude for sparing his life. Pleasure-Seeking Wanderer snorted coldly. "Stop kowtowing. I detest lowly flatterers like you. The Moon Clan is such a joke. Serve me well or else." But the conversation was not over yet. Pleasure-Seeking Wanderer suddenly exclaimed in shock, with a terrified expression on his face. He kicked the 4th-generation clan leader away. He staggered back in panic for a few steps. "Why do you still have goo?" The 4th-generation clan leader's face revealed a cunning smile. "This goo named Moon Shadow excels at concealment. Although it's only of the 4th enhancement, it can still restrict the power of the Origin See True Origin. You are no match anymore. Surrender obediently and become my servant. Perhaps there's still a way out for you." Pleasure-Seeking Wanderer became furious. "Go to hell." He moved like lightning and struck a punch right at the heart of the 4th-generation clan leader. The 4th-generation clan leader did not expect that the pleasure-seeking wanderer would be so aggressive. A huge surge of power came. He was suddenly thrown out. His body fell to the ground as if a burst sack. At this moment, the watching elders all let out roars and swarmed up. Pleasure-seeking wanderer looked up and howled to the sky. Facing the charge of the elders, he went straight to meet them head-on. A fierce battle broke out. Pleasure-seeking wanderer quickly took control of the situation. Soon, some elders were killed and others wounded. But just as he was about to finish off the remaining elders, his expression suddenly changed, and he clutched his abdomen. "Damn it, Moon Shadow Valley, I'll let you off this time. I'll come back to deal with you later." Pleasure-seeking wanderer's figure flashed like lightning as he escaped. He disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye into the mountains and forests. The scene resets and starts playing again. Levi sneered. "So, this is the real truth from back then." It turns out that it was this group of elders who tampered with history. No wonder that heartbroken Goo Master didn't dare to embezzle privately. He was actually afraid of this. If this is discovered by the family, it will definitely be wiped out. But the legacy that was so painstakingly explored should be kept for oneself. Why should I share with others? Even if discovered, so what? Without taking risks, where does the profit come from? Levi doesn't care at all. He kicked away a leg bone at his feet that was in the way, squatted down again to search for the hidden treasure. However, after searching for a while, he only found 15 essence stones. "What a poor guy," Levi commented. The harvest is less than expected. This should also be one of the reasons reported to the family by the Goo Master. The storage goo that projects this image wall can only record once. Does this mean I can only report to the family to reap benefits? Levi thought about it, and quickly dismissed the idea. Something that could undermine family beliefs. If sold to the other two villages on Qingmong Peak, they would definitely receive more rewards than from the family. What? You mentioned the family's sense of honor and belonging. I'm really sorry. Levi really doesn't have any of that. Relying on the family. How could I be so naive like in my past life? The so-called Moon Clan. It's just a stepping stone for my eternal plan. It doesn't matter if it's destroyed. Levi returned to the inn. After he sent away the troublemaker. Next, he will refine the goo worm at the inn. As long as he obtains the innate goo, he will be eligible to stay in the student dormitory. And he can also enjoy the resources of the clan. After all, staying at the inn a few times is one thing. The cost of staying for too long is really too high. Refining the wine worm requires at least 17 pieces of stone. Although the wine worm, like the moon goo, is both a first enhanced goo worm, it is undoubtedly more rare. The difficulty of refining has also increased. And in a certain sense, it is a goo worm that can enhance a goo master's aptitude. Levi sat cross-legged on the bed, took out the wine worm, and first mobilized the true origin from the origin sea. This wine worm can purify its own true origin to enhance my beginner level true origin to intermediate level. This way, I can surpass my peers in the foundation of true origin and significantly accelerate the speed of cultivation. At this time, the wine worm is still in a dormant state. It is the best time to refine it. The essence of refining is to use one's own will to eradicate the will of the goo worm. And this wine worm is very likely the pleasure-seeking wanderer's innate goo. It was originally at the 5th enhancement level, but has not had enough food for a long time. Its rank has gradually decreased to the 1st enhancement level. But the will of the pleasure-seeking wanderer still exists in the wine worm. Levi frowned, feeling the strong resistance. At this rate, not to mention 17 essence stones, even 30 won't be enough. He shouldn't even think about refining it within a month, unless there is help from a strong individual. But I have no connections. Who would bother to help a grade 3 waste like me without gaining anything in return? The moon outside the window has slowly descended. And then a new day arrives. Levi worked hard for half the night, and only managed to refine less than 1%. He truly lives up to the strong will of a demonic cultivation expert. But for the sake of future plans, Goo really needs to refine it himself. Levi was thinking while having breakfast. But at that moment, his younger brother Moon Liam appeared. He was very impolite. There was a hint of interrogation in his tone. Brother, why didn't you come home yesterday? Tell me, what did you do to Luna? Since she came out of your room yesterday, she cried a lot. The more I comforted her, the more she cried fiercely. Levi looked at his younger brother expressionlessly while Liam frowned. Shouldn't you explain it? However, Levi still ignored him. Liam immediately became angry and slammed the table, shouting loudly, Moon, Levi, how can you be like this? A little maid has been serving you for so many years. I have seen her kindness and thoughtfulness towards you. Before he could finish speaking, Levi abruptly stood up and swiftly raised his hand, giving Liam a solid slap. How dare you? How dare you speak to your brother in such a tone? Luna is just a little maid. Are you going to forget that I am your brother for her sake? Liam felt the burning sensation on his face. He looked dumbfounded for a moment. From childhood to adulthood, his brother has never hit him before. He stared wide-eyed, gasping for breath. I understand now. You're jealous of me. I was tested with grade 1 aptitude while you only got grade 3, but you can't blame me for that. It's all part of God's plan. Liam hadn't even finished speaking when Levi turned around and delivered another slap. You ungrateful fool. How have I taken care of you since you were young? Would you be alive today without my protection? Now you dare to question me for the sake of a servant girl. You have lost all sense of shame. Liam's face turned red. His lips quivered, but he couldn't utter a word of rebuttal. Because Levi was speaking the truth. Levi sneered coldly time and time again. It's fine. Since you've abandoned even your biological parents, what does being an elder brother count for me? From today on, you are not my young brother, and I am no longer your brother. Liam was very surprised and was about to say something. But Levi quickly spoke up. Don't you like Luna? Don't worry. I didn't do anything to her. She is still a virgin. Give me 6 essence stones, and I will hand her over to you. From now on, she will be your personal maid. Liam, whose inner thoughts were suddenly exposed, felt a sudden panic. It took him by surprise. Levi's gaze was extremely sharp. Would you like to change it or leave it as it is? Liam's neck stiffened. He took out his last 5 essence stones and threw them to his older brother. Levi took the bag. That's it. I'll take the essence stones. You can go now. Liam still has something to say. Levi, on the other hand, said calmly, While I haven't changed my mind, you'd better disappear from my sight. Liam's heart tightened. He gritted his teeth and turned to leave. Stepping out of the door, he subconsciously covered his chest. He felt waves of faintness in his heart. There was a feeling deep down telling him that he seemed to have lost something very important at this moment. But soon a warmth flooded his heart as he thought of Luna and that unforgettable night. Finally, he could rightfully have you. The night was dark. A sudden voice interrupted the rest of the academy elder. Report to elder. There is a student from the Fong family outside the academy, claiming to have successfully refined the moon goo. The brow of the academy elder furrowed. Fong family student. Is it Moon Liam? He said, as he put on his clothes and pushed the door open. Over here, Liam. Elder applauded with a smile. Well done, Moon. You really didn't disappoint me. No wonder you have the aptitude of a grade 1, better than those of grade 2 and grade 3. You truly surpassed them all. Compared to the talents that your brother boasts about, real talent is indeed different. Keep up the good work. But before he finishes speaking, Levi takes a step back with a faint smile. Sir Elder, you have mistaken. I am Moon, Levi Moon. Liam is my young brother. Academy Elder slightly opened his mouth. A look of astonishment appeared on his face. Levi said in a calm and composed manner, I, Moon Levi, have met Elder before. The elder at the academy was extremely surprised. What? You're Moon Levi, and you've taken first place this year. Levi looked thoughtful. If there's no one earlier than me, it seems to be the case. The academy elder was stunned. You should know he has been in charge of the academy for decades. extremely experienced. He has even witnessed a grade 3 aptitude taking the lead before. But it definitely won't happen this early. Besides, there are peers of grade 1 and grade 2 aptitudes in this cohort. The next day, it was still dark. The sun had not yet risen. Moon Liam's heart was full of surging passion. He walked quickly towards the academy. These days, I have diligently cultivated, spending 2 essence stones, and not sleeping all night last night. I finally successfully refined moon goo. Wait and see. Those tribesmen who used to look down on me and my older brother. Starting from today, I will make you all look at me, Moon Liam, in a new light. When he arrived at the entrance of the academy, the 2 guards who protect the academy strangely said to him, "You are Moon Liam. You and your brother look too alike. You are a step too late. Just last night, in the middle of the night, your brother Moon Levi has already met with Elder and received the first place reward." Liam's eyes widened in shock. How is this possible? Isn't his brother supposed to only have a grade 3 aptitude? Getting first place? This must be a joke. Liam couldn't believe it. The guard looked somewhat displeased. It's true. Why would we joke about something like this? At this time, the list was announced by another guard. It said that Moon was ranked first in the alchemy assessment, and Levi was specially rewarded with 20 essence stones. Liam was dumbfounded, standing blankly at the door. The reality was so different from what he had expected. He couldn't even understand what had happened. If grade 2's Moon Michael or another grade 2's Moon Cameron were to take first place, either of them would accept it. But why does it have to be his own brother? Liam roared in his heart for a moment. I've worked so hard. But he drinks all day and gets drunk. In the end, he still gets first place. Is there any justice in this? Time passed. The sun climbed higher. A new list was posted on the notice board of the academy. There were only 2 names on the list, Levi and Liam. Over with the Mason family. Moon, one of the ruling elders of the Moon clan, asked in a calm tone, "Has Michael not continued to refine the goo?" The steward standing behind him quickly replied, "Young Master Michael seems deeply affected. He was so close to success. Moreover, it would have been acceptable if Liam had come in first. However, it's that grade 3 aptitude Levi who—" Moon Mason snorted coldly. Goo Master Cultivation is full of hardships. If he can't even handle this setback, how will he manage our family's lineage in the future? No one is allowed to advise him. Let him think it over on his own. Almost simultaneously, the Charles family. Elder Moon Charles sighed deeply. Cameron awe. Refined Goo glanced at Aptitude and Goo Worm. It must be that Levi is lucky this time. He managed to take first place by choosing a weak-willed Goo Worm. So, my grandson, don't feel disheartened. 10 days later, at the martial arena, an elder from the academy shouted loudly, "Moon Goo is the emblematic Goo Worm of our Moon clan. Most people present have chosen Moon Goo as their innate Goo. Next, I will personally demonstrate how to activate Moon Goo for an attack." He then extended his right hand with 5 fingers spread out. Firstly, he used his mind to move the Moon Goo to the palm of his hand. This way, the attack would be unexpected. However, it is usually in the palm because it is easier to control. Finally, he shot it out. He slowly closed the 5 fingers that were spread out, then lifted his arm and extended it forward slowly. Finally, he waved his hand lightly. A straw puppet not far away had its neck, which was about 30 centimeters thick, cut off by the moon blade. The young men's eyes lit up as they stared at the straw puppet, whispering excitedly to each other. Academy Elder continued, "If you practice diligently, you can certainly achieve it. This is also the content of this assessment." 3 days later, use Moon Blade to attack these first enhanced straw goo. The one with the best performance will receive a reward of 10 essence stones. 35 young people quickly lined up. They extended their right hands one after another to transfer the Moon Goo to the palm of their hands. However, they just couldn't release the Moon Blade attack. Moon Liam squinted his eyes. Last time, his older brother was lucky to take first place. However, a goo master cannot always rely on luck to cultivate. So this time, the one who wins must be me. However, in the next moment, a moon blade flew out directly and cut off the strawman puppet. Moon Liam widened his eyes, his face full of disbelief as he looked at his brother. Damn. It can't be him. At this moment, Elder asked a young man, "Was that strike just now from you? It seemed to come from your direction." The young man scratched his head and somewhat guiltily replied, "It seems like it was me." Moon Liam breathed a sigh of relief at the sight. As long as it wasn't his older brother, it's good. After practicing for about 5 minutes, the young men were gradually able to perform the moon blade technique. Levi, on the other hand, gave a cold laugh. He almost got discovered by them because of his recklessness just now. It's better not to be too conspicuous at the moment. After a day of classes at the academy, Levi came alone to Goo's room. He bought 10 pieces of moon orchid petals. Goo worms need to be fed. And now, this feeding has become a big problem. Moon goo eats moon orchid petals. It's also best to feed the wine worm with bamboo wine. But these 2 goo worms need to consume nearly 1 piece of essence stone each day. Previously, even though I obtained a lot of essence stones through various means, I also consumed a lot of essence stones during the process of raising and refining the goo. Now the quantity has dropped from 44 pieces to 20 pieces. It's a good thing that the temporal cicada directly feeds on time, otherwise, I wouldn't be able to afford the food for the 6th enhanced goo worm at all. Given the current situation, it seems that I must showcase my abilities 3 days later. At this point, the shopkeeper's assistant walked over with a smile and told the young master something. In less than a month, a caravan will come to the village as customary. They will purchase our bamboo wine from the store, and we may run out of stock by then. Levi frowned slightly at the words. This is somewhat troublesome. A cask of bamboo wine is enough for a wine worm to drink for 4 days. Change to other inexpensive wine. Not only does the quantity need to be increased, but it also easily arouses suspicion. It seems that one can only buy more. Thinking about it, Levi took out 10 essence stones and bought 5 more jars. There's no other way. Raising goo is just like keeping a mistress. This saying is really spot on. 3 days later, the arena for martial arts competition. The martial art master with bare arms said in a deep voice, "Basic martial arts is the top priority for cultivation in the early stages of becoming a goo master. The moon blade consumes a tremendous amount of energy and can only be used as a last resort. When there is no true origin, the only thing you can rely on is your own self." The martial art master at the academy demonstrated the moves while speaking. However, most of the students couldn't muster up the enthusiasm and appeared to lack interest. They while away the time waiting for the basic martial art course to end. After a short break, an academy elder arrives late. "All right, today is the day for assessing your progress. You will form groups of 5. Each of you will come up and use the moon blade to perform 3 attacks. A hit on the limbs is worth 1 point, on the torso is 2 points, on the neck is 3 points, and chopping off is worth 4 points. The maximum score is 12 points. The one with the highest score will be the first place." The first group of students walked up. The moon blade danced in the air. After 3 rounds, only 9 moon blades hit the strawman puppet. Academy Elder shook his head slightly dissatisfied. "Why is the accuracy rate so poor? Have you been practicing properly at all?" After Elder scolded them briefly, he waved his hand broadly. Next group. Moon Michael. The duel between the 2 grade 2 students attracted the attention of the crowd. In the end, Moon and Michael each hit all 3 shots and scored 5 points. While Moon and Cameron also both hit all 3 shots, they scored 6 points due to hitting different locations. Cameron walked off the court with his head held high. On the way, he glanced at Michael provocatively. Moon gave Michael a cold snort, but didn't return Cameron's stare. Time passed slowly. Soon it was time for Moon and Liam to take the court. Liam felt a little nervous, but he gritted his teeth and secretly made up his mind. Brother, this time I will definitely surpass you. Liam activates True Origin and brings Moon Goo into the palm of his hand. He stares fixedly at the nearby Straw Goo. He regarded him as his own brother. Then he ruthlessly shot out the moon blade. However, the next moment he stood still. It was either due to being too nervous or the pressure from his brother being too much. The trajectory of the first moon blade shot off course. His heart was pounding uncontrollably. Cold sweat poured down all at once. The surrounding teenagers were also dumbfounded. They had the look of witnessing a miracle. However, the next moment, the moon blade still did not enter Straw Goo's neck. This made Liam breathe a sigh of relief. Academy Elder also breathed a sigh of relief. Lucky break. It was unexpected to hit the nail on the head. Moon Liam's last two shots both hit Straw Goo's chest. In the end, he scored 7 points and became the first place. Just when the boys thought Liam was securely in first place, Moon Levi stepped forward slowly. The people around finally realized that there was another dark horse who had not yet entered the field. But obviously, there were more people who did not hold high expectations. They were mocking one after another. And Levi ignored them as if they were nothing. Their mockery did not cause any ripples in his own heart at all. As the Academy Elder's assessment began to fall, Levi did not hesitate to throw a sniper rifle. The younger brother held his breath, staring tightly at his older brother. His heart was beating faster than during his recent assessment. At the next moment, Moon Levi's moon blade missed directly. The surrounding youths exploded in an instant. The mocking voices were even more intense than before. The Academy Elder let out a sigh. I can't believe I still held a glimmer of hope. Moon Liam's mouth cracked open as he let out a cold laugh. He was on the brink of madness. I finally won. Even if you have dog luck, you only scored 6 points. Can you really score twice? That seems like a result only possible in dreams. Give up, brother. You have no chance. Even if it's fate, it can't help you this time. At this moment, Levi's second strike is released. Liam looks on coldly. He has already pinned it to the struggling pillar of death. And after this assessment, I will truly become a first-rate talent. Everyone will acknowledge me. No one will dare to mock me again. However, it was at this moment that Levi made his move again. His right palm sliced the empty air like a knife, launching 2 attacks seamlessly and flawlessly. In the astonished eyes of the crowd, both moon blades accurately hit the neck of the straw puppet. Liam's pupils contracted suddenly. A bad feeling surged in his heart. Eyes widened instantly with bloodshot veins. I've lost. He roared wildly in his heart. This is impossible. I diligently practice my grade 1 aptitude every day. He is only grade 3. His proficiency cannot be higher than mine. It is even more impossible to get 2 successful strikes. It must be luck. I disagree, he shouted hysterically. He cheated. I want to compete again. Moon Liam completely lost his mind. He couldn't accept the fact that he failed again. How can this be considered an 8-point item? Academy Elder frowned slightly, looking displeased. What's wrong with Liam? It's just a small quiz, and he's reacting like this. He is the one to be groomed as the clan leader in the future. We can't indulge his temperament. He pointed to the head of the straw goo on the ground. Look at this cut. Only with 2 full chops can it be like this. Otherwise, there would be 1 deep and 1 shallow. It's obvious that 2 strikes could sever it. It's an 8 out of 10, no mistake. And Liam's eyes filled with despair. Liam fell to his knees in despair. Moon Levi stared blankly at this young brother with hatred and jealousy. In the past life, when you were suppressing me, your own brother, crazily, was that the same face you had? Levi said coldly. How ugly! My foolish young brother. Liam gritted his teeth. He's itching to tear him apart alive. But all he got in return was Levi's cold sneer. The sunshine of spring. It really is bright and beautiful. The test is over. All the students have returned to the academy. Levi walked up to the stage to receive the 2 money bags handed to him by the Academy elder. This is your family subsidy and the first place prize. After speaking, he glanced deeply at Levi. This caused the initially disappointed elder to pay him slightly more attention. Moon Mason stared at Levi with great dissatisfaction in his heart. Damn it. He was robbed of first place again. Is this really his true strength, or is he just lucky? At the end, Academy elder announced something. You have been at the Academy for some time now. You are already familiar with the use of innate goo. Next, I will teach you how to improve your cultivation. The higher the realm of a goo master, the more condensed the true origin becomes. The first enhanced goo master is at the bronze true origin level. Each enhancement is equivalent to increasing the true origin tenfold, so you must remember that. Goo worms are just tools we use. Cultivation is the foundation of US goo masters.